Hello. For this project, the goal is to relate three life events to interpersonal communication concepts through song. So, for my first event, I chose entering college. In this time period, I was very insecure and self conscious, and I had just moved 500 miles away with no friends or family around. So, it was very nerve wracking. I, for my song, I interpreted it to be encouraging others to open up and just show who they really are despite wanting others' validation. It's okay to not be okay, to dive in your pain, and it's alright to not be alright, to search for your light, and it's so good to not be all good, to feel like you shouldn't feel any better. You gotta lose you just a little, lose your cool just a little. I won't judge you a little, not even a little bit. I know you're fucking sick of it. I don't know nobody who thinks that there's somebody 24/7, 24/7. I don't know nobody who smiles at everybody 24/7, 24/7. I connected the song to chapter 2, which is on communication and identity. So, going in, I was very nervous about how others were perceiving me, and I definitely wanted to come off as this like nice and happy person. But as I got more comfortable, I realized, like with more disclosure, I could express more of like who I actually was with my friends. So why we might try to control our presenting self in new social situations. The song states that it's okay to not be okay, and you gotta lose your cool just a little, which is telling us that we do not have to hide our emotions and encouraging us to have more disclosure. We also typically try to use identity management to present our best self to others to try to obtain their approval. And when she says, I don't know nobody who smiles at everybody 24/7, she's nudging us to acknowledge that we don't have to put on a show or like a mask all the time. She's saying it's okay to be upset, to not always be positive or peppy or happy all of the time. We are all constantly on this hedonic treadmill and striving for happiness, and we have to acknowledge that throughout our lives we will all have ups and downs. So even though we might use social comparison to assess how we fit in with our peers, we can know that they're also probably trying to present their best self, and none of us are perfect. We're all struggling together. So for my second event, I chose my first relationship, or rather, some difficulties we faced in that relationship. I feel like there was a point where our communication was totally off. And the issues that I would bring up to him were not being addressed properly. And this made me very frustrated. And I remember playing this song while driving him home and telling him, like, this is how I'm feeling. If it is love, why do I feel this way? Why you got me so obsessed with you? Why you got me wasting time laying next to you? Why do you tell me come over to watch you? Just stare at your phone, don't know why I expected you to give me attention, affection, and love. You're like a drug, never enough. Can't take your high, need a new plug. You got me bent, got me way too messed up. I connected this song to chapter 7, which is about listening. I appreciated the distinction of hearing versus listening because there's definitely a difference in how you process the information in these two instances. In this song, she's venting out her issues through counterfeit questioning after these issues have not been resolved. She's saying, why do you tell me come over to watch you just stare at your phone? There's probably mindless or ineffective listening occurring in their relationship, which caused this built up frustration. So in my relationship, I felt as though during our conflicts, we were not attending to each other. Many times there would be other like distractions or issues that came up. I admit also that I had some ineffective listening on my part. It was both of our first relationships, and we didn't really know how to deal with conflict correctly. I remember telling him that I felt as though he was only listening to what I was saying in order to counter them and not listening constructively or actually empathizing with my point of view, which I realized from the textbook is called ambushing. I also remember instances of ineffective listening where he would pick and choose parts of my conversation to respond to, which were usually more minor or semantic, and he would ignore the overall larger problem in order to like try to dismiss the conflict. But overall, I appreciated the part of the textbook that stated how to listen better, such as talking less, eliminating external distractions, actually trying to understand other person's point of view and listening for their key points and not focusing on like the small details. And so for my last event, I chose leaving college and moving back home while I was trying to hold on to these relationships that I had made. So for most of my relationships in college, I feel as though they were built on proximity, like being in the same club, same area, similarity, complementarity, and reciprocal attraction and disclosure. And I was nervous that me moving away would make me drift away from my friends, since historically I'm a terrible communicator online and I have not reached out to my friends, like for example, from high school first. And so this song talks about that sentiment, wanting things to stay the same with other people. I chose chapter 8 for this event, which is on communication and relationship dynamics. So, from the developmental perspective, there are 3 stages of relationships, which are coming together, relationship maintenance, and coming apart. So, the lyrics, holding tight to what we have, if it's lost, will it come back, shows the fear for things changing or differentiating within the relationship. I had made close friends in college, and I had already seen people start to drift away during COVID, even though I was still in college and still in the area. But because we interacted less or the relationship began to circumscribe, many of us began to drift away. I was fearful of other things distracting us also, and wanted to make sure that I put in enough effort to keep my remaining friends, which is known as relationship maintenance. This reflected in the lyrics. I don't want us to change, don't want us to chip away, where I felt like I was clinging on to my friendships so that our relationship would not terminate. Since then, I've started a new job, I'm taking courses for other prereqs, and still have managed to maintain the relationships that are close to me. I'm glad that I figured out how to stay in touch with my friends online and while being busy, And even though I'm still like 500 miles away from them, I do visit them every now and then. But yes, overall happy with that. So thank you for watching.